How long is that one? What's it doing like that? Streaming forward. So it's playing now?
Yep. And it should shift into there pretty soon. Yep, there it goes. Okay, shall we do this?
Well, are you doing the video?
And here we are, I think. I think we're here.
Oh, I thought we were... I'm not sure what we're up to.
I'm not sure either, but it appears that we're streaming.
I
So
don't
it doesn't
think
look
so.
like it.
No, it
Doesn't
does
look like
not.
it over here, does it? I think there's a delay, but I'm not 100% sure. Everything changed since last week, so I'm not sure if we're actually live or
I
not.
think, because it would say live on the...
No, because that's over here. It says live. It says we're live. I think we're live. Yeah, we're live. We are live, but for some reason we're not seeing it over there. Why are we not seeing it over there? Hey, anybody out there? Are we live? Oh, good grief. This is really something else. This thing went live when I didn't want it to 3 times this morning.
Yep, you are live.
You were live. Okay,
There
good,
we go.
Philip. Thank you very much. It's good to know.
What's going on?
Ay, 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 ay. Can't tell what's going on at all here. Well, okay, so since we are live,
Good morning.
All right.
Good afternoon, Chuck.
good afternoon. Aloha, awinalai, komomai. Good afternoon and welcome to this, let's see, what is it, October 23rd live stream from Cruising Lealea. We're here in Petersburg, Alaska on Chief John Lott Street, directly across the street from Keto's Cave, liquor store, saloon, and social center, and catty corner over here from Mindy's Salty Pantry. And oh, how about this? Mindy's Salty Pantry. Let's take a look over there for a minute, see what's happening, huh?
Oh, did you go in over to Mindy's this weekend?
I did yesterday.
Very cool.
I don't know what that beeping is. Is that your
That's
phone?
my phone going off.
Well, let's take a walk over to the Salty Pantry and see what Mindy's whipped up this morning.
There's the bar. So at this point they're just hearing the video, is that what's going on? Or are we
I
still...
don't know what's going on.
You want to refresh that?
Probably. See why that's not doing it. No, why is it not coming out of that channel? Well, it still should be coming out.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Terrific. What do we got for breakfast this morning? Tomato, spinach, bacon, salad, pastry.
Oh, what's going on is it should be video playing. And over the Mindy's Salty Pantry over there.
Great.
But I can't
Oh,
tell.
maybe I need one of those for the harbor.
Because I'm not seeing there we are. We'll get the hang of it eventually. I'm just trying to do a better job. And
It takes a little
I
bit. Takes a little bit. Is this the slow walk to Salty Pantry?
yeah, I don't know why it's so slow like that. I didn't walk that slow, but it seems to be streaming very slowly. Maybe I don't want to do this from this
Yeah, let's just pull that back up.
platform anymore. No, wait, we're going to be inside in a minute.
Okay.
You can at least show the inside. Oh, there it
we
is.
go.
It stopped streaming on me. Well, this isn't going to work, is it?
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's quite all right. We're learning the software. Once again, Chuck just uploaded some new software to this computer. This is all brand new to us. It's giving us a whole bunch of fun different options that we can
Yeah.
add in video and
New computer is Windows 11, which is different from Windows 10, which is the other computer. And the newest versions of the software have been having me trying to tear my hair out, but there's not enough of it and it's too short.
a little bit.
So, and something happened this morning. I came in and went to schedule the stream, And if anybody who was paying attention may have noticed that we had about 3 false starts on the live stream because there's no scheduling button. There was no scheduling button on there.
Disappeared.
It just disappeared, and I couldn't find the button to schedule the stream, and it would just keep starting. So it would start the stream and run. I'm going, what's going on at 30 seconds? I could stop it, delete it, and keep coming back to it. Finally figured something out, and it appears that what's happening is it is very clear to me that the live stream will not function on the Brave browser. And it functions okay, it seems to function okay on Firefox, but couldn't find the scheduling button on that mode of screening, so I flipped it over and messed around with it.
Really didn't play it.
I think what I'm going to have to do is go back to using Google Chrome. I imagine that's what it is.
Because Firefox usually is the one that everything works on, right?
Yeah.
But not this time.
That's what most things work. Well, I've had good luck with. Whoops. Excuse me. I've had good luck with Firefox. Google keeps asking for, sign in permissions and all this stuff that I don't want to give it. But I probably should just give in and let Google run my life like everybody else.
Looks like we've got Philip with us. Hi, Philip. Where are you singing out from? Where are you located? And let's see, we got 4 in stream right now. Cool. So what's been going on this week? We've had a fairly busy week, and we'd love to hear about your week as well.
Yeah.
Well, what?
We had.
What have you been up to?
I'm looking back at what I've done this week. I had breakfast at Minnie's a couple of times.
Who town hasn't?
Yeah. We're house sitting. We're house sitting out on the north west corner of Mitkoff Island. Very nice house. Very nice view of Frederick Sound.
Yeah.
And
pretty blustery the last couple of days.
I had some video, but I'm going to have to test this before I try to insert a video into the live stream again. Okay. We're getting everything prepped. Everybody's battening down for winter. The high temperature today is only 39 degrees, so it's not going to get over 40 today. During the rest of the week, the forecasts run up into the very low 40s, 41, 42 for the daily high.
But no snow in the forecast.
Yeah, no snow in the forecast, not yet. Although there is snow over on Petersburg Mountain, across the Narrows. Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that. Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Did not see that.
That's what I'm looking for here
oh my
is
goodness. So I had something really cool happen this morning.
What happened? Oh, you were going to tell me about Charlie.
I was going to tell you. So I was letting Charlie out the back door at the clinic, which looks out, the view out the back of the clinic looks out over Wrangell Narrows. And
over across the Kupernoff Island.
Just as I opened the door, I called out, Charlie! And then, poof, this huge killer whale fin popped up.
Oh, wow.
Like
killer
10 feet
whale's name.
offshore. And then stayed up for quite a while, slow roll up, and then just shot on off. And just as that happened, a white pickup came barreling in, screeching to a halt. They saw just the tip of it going down, and then they booted out and raced down the way. So they
whales in the narrow, whales in the narrows.
They were obviously following along, tracking them along. But
yeah,
the beautiful view.
The radio station will usually
call out,
put out an announcement if the killer whales, orcas, they call them down in Washington. Orcas, if you're used to hearing that word instead of killer whales.
Killer whales. We call them what they are here.
Yeah. So usually, if there's a pod of orcas or interesting marine life transiting the Narrows, there will be an alert on the radio station, so people can run out with cameras or just go out and stare with their mouths hanging open at the astounding bounty of wildlife here in Southeast Alaska.
Amen. Yeah.
It's bounties of wildlife that sometimes are a nuisance, like bears dragging trash all over the place. I noticed in the police report there was something about someone or something dragged trash onto somebody's property, and
Yeah.
they don't know if it was a human or an animal,
An
but
animal.
it was a
Most
bear.
likely an animal.
Most likely a bear.
Crows
Or
are
crows.
horrible bad at that.
The ravens get into the trash really bad here. You don't dare leave a trash bag. They know what trash bags are. They know what the little green plastic bags that they pass out at the supermarket that everybody uses for trash bags are. So if you leave one of those green bags, especially a green bag in your
in the
cockpit,
back of your pickup. Or
doesn't matter if it's
yeah.
today's groceries or if it's the trash. The ravens are going to get into it. They'll even come in under the tarps that are covering the boat to get into it if they spot it.
Yeah.
So really have to watch out for the wildlife and sometimes the not so wildlife.
Are we talking about the crew over at Keto's or?
That it's hard to say. They're definitely not domesticated. He's got the paper here. So I really enjoy reading the newspaper here in Petersburg. It's the only news I really trust. Excuse me, only
Well,
because
'cause
I'm
you
bigger
can-
than Oren. I think I can kick his ass if I catch him lying to me.
Well, plus all of this stuff we see with our own lion eyes. So
Yeah, so it's all cool. A lot of interesting stuff in the paper. The researchers are studying about humpback whales. There's an article about growing fish habitat. Borough supplemental budget passed, which we got a bunch of outside money from the state and the feds. $250,000 for the schools.
Garrett.
School board got an extra $250,000, actually $262,000. Which I can't see. I still haven't got my glasses. I have progressive bifocals on the way, so I don't have
So
to keep
just
doing this.
if missed it last week, Chuck leaned over and dropped his glasses in the water.
Yeah, I had them in my vest pocket, and
How many pairs is that now over the years?
Oh, just two. That's only the second pair I've actually lost overboard like that.
What have you lost overboard now?
Well, one pair. How many sockets, screwdrivers, screws, nuts, bolts,
Cell phones.
cell phone? No, I never lost a cell phone overboard. I threw one overboard once. I didn't lose it.
Philip Garrett, he says, I'm in Newport Beach, California, waiting for my Valiant 42 to get a new engine. Coming
Ooh-ah.
your way in the spring. Last saw you two in person at Huna Marina in 2013. Love talking with you too. Philip,
What?
just a tidbit more information to trigger our memory a little bit more. Were you there on your own boat? Were you living there? I apologize. I don't remember that conversation. And then, is that Tom Strawn? Hey guys, finally had time to catch up with you two live. You both look
I
good.
can't.
Laura looks better than Chuck though, with warm regards, Tom.
Oh,
Tom,
gosh.
say hi. Say hi to Ava. And then SB Glorious, 10mm
Nice.
sockets
See
of
people
mini.
back.
Yep. All
10mm socket. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost way too many of those too.
All of that. I have to keep changing my glasses back and forth because I can't see both. I am sorry.
Well,
I wanted money. $14.4 million opens opportunities for new Forest Service cabins, and I wanted to show.
the new.
I wanted to show the new Forest Service cabins, and I happen to have it here, so I can show you. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, the
I don't need to do that. I can do it like this. So it is. Which one is it? In the Tongass. This one is the. Which one is it? Oh, of course, I need to be better prepared for this. What I should do is take it out and separate it into my notes. U.S. Forest Service cabins. This is the West Point cabin. It's one of the cabins that could see repairs using the BIL funding, including replacing old rusted brackets for the cabin's foundation and porch. We had $14.5 million, but this is what the cabin they're talking about. Let's see. There you go. That's the Forest Service cabin that we're talking about in the Tongass. Here's a.
Yeah, they're really nice.
That's the inside.
Generally stocked with wood. Stocked for fireplace.
Mm-hmm. Got a
Wow,
wood burning
that's
stove
nice.
inside.
Look at that.
Forest Service cabin right here. And here's another view.
And the Forest Service cabins you can book online.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually anywhere from like 35 to 65 or 75 a night. Most of the time you have to hike in, bring your own supplies, but I think they stock the cabins with wood.
Yeah.
For the fireplace.
Yeah, they don't want you going out chopping down trees around the cabin to heat the place. So that's the view from the cabin, from the porch on the cabin.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
That is
pretty cool, eh?
stunning. Huh.
Yeah. So Forest Service cabins, if you are a mind to do that sort of thing, you can arrange to use one for a period of time.
And most of them you have to hike into. Some are available to get to only by boat or.
Yeah, so like that particular one, you can put, if you have that kind of boat, you can put your boat right up on the beach.
Yeah.
And do that. Let's see. 100 years ago, October 20th, 1922, a discovery of nickel, the metal nickel on Baranof Island, a large deposit of nickel. And in 1947, they're talking about some old timers among us can still remember how fresh fish was caught, handled, and shipped in the early days of the fishing industry around the turn of the century. How the halibut boats would pick up glacier ice over at the glacier right over here and catch fish near Petersburg and then sell to the scows moored in Scow Bay, which is why they call it Scow Bay. And we've gone down there and anchored a few times. But that's where the steamers would come to take the, and that's before, obviously, before they built the harbors. They'd come and pick up the iced and boxed fish to Seattle. And that's how they did it back then. 50 years ago, back ancient history, 50 years ago, an air and sea search for the aircraft carrying Alaska Representative Nick Begich, that's Nick Begich Sr., not the one who's on the ballot this year, House Majority Leader Hale Boggs and two other men, which disappeared on an Anchorage Juneau flight Monday. So that was 50 years ago.
Wow.
25 years ago, they were concerned about the political correctness of the Petersburg Middle School name. So they didn't like the fact that the Petersburg Middle School was shortened to PMS. In 1997. And so we didn't know because we weren't here in 1997. We got here and it was called Mitkoff Island Middle School. So it's MIMS now. But back then it was PMS and
some people were offended.
Some people
Philip,
apparently didn't like that.
I do remember that long conversation in the laundry. Thank you for that. That's very cool. And you be sure and stop in and into Petersburg and say hi. And then he's also asking, where will you two be this spring and summer? I have no idea at this point. We've got a bunch of possibilities.
It's a lot of possibilities. The possibilities are just mind-numbing, actually.
Yeah. We've got some spring boat work to do.
We've got spring boat work. I'm going to be working on the inside of the boat all winter. And, excuse me. I'm going to be working on the inside of the boat all winter. Hopefully to finally get that interior all finished up. And then in the spring, when the temperatures get above freezing and actually warm up to the point where the paint will dry, I can start working on the deck and cabin area, getting that
prepped and
ready.
Paint.
Yeah.
So we're once again hoping to get over Wrangell, or I don't know if we're going to be able to make it to Port Townsend.
All the way to Port Townsend and back would take the entire summer, and I don't think we can do.
Yeah, I don't know. If we had, it comes down to, again, getting over to Port Townsend in a good amount of time.
Start early enough.
Getting the work done and getting back. The way we've been rolling, we wouldn't make it back in.
Yeah.
We wouldn't make it back in a single season.
Well, it took Tom and I and Gary 6 weeks to get down to Port Townsend.
Yeah, but that was because of the engine.
Yeah, it was because we were just
an outboard
cruising.
On there and it was not safe to.
We could have done it a lot faster in Lealea. Yes, we could have. And they got a lot of money. from the government, the state and federal
Well, there was
government.
that budget just passed recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's spreading some money around.
Yeah, the borough supplemental budget passed.
Oh, the anodes in the Middle Harbor.
That's right. They're
Very
going to replace the anodes in the middle harbor. That's the small boat harbor.
Because we were going through, we were burning hot in there.
Every like 2 or 3 months. North Harbor, since they put the new docks in, we were in the North Harbor before, and they rebuilt the entire North Harbor. So they kicked everybody out. They had to pull the pilings out and get rid of the floating docks and everything, and put new pilings and new floating docks in. When they did that, they put it into electrical system. The middle harbor is the small boat harbor. It's for sub 30-foot boats, and now they haven't redone that one yet. They're redoing that now, and they're putting new anodes in, which should help a lot with the electrolysis problem. What else is other interest here? The Forest Service cabin, we covered that. The police report. The police report. Let's see. Alarm activated at the wastewater plant. A citizen reported losing property near the crane dock. A complainant, as we talked about, a complainant reported garbage being drug onto their property from elsewhere. They're unsure if it was by an animal or a human. Suspicious activity. Report of loud music early in the morning. Not much in the way of actual crime. A lost dog was reported, retrieved, and returned. A deer was struck by a car, and the meat was salvaged.
Innocent
A person whose name is in here, first and last name, was cited for alleged minor in possession of consumption at Sandy Beach Park. Oh, that was the
volleyball students.
The volleyball team.
Three girls got community service for that.
High school volleyball. I don't know what's going on with teenagers these days.
I was asked if they could come to the clinic and help clean the kennels, and I'm like, that's not really community service.
That's not community service. Well, it could be.
No.
It could be. In fact, I was talking to, and officers conducted welfare checks on Mel several times. Last week we talked about Duchess.
Duchess, yes.
Duchess, the black lab that everybody loves in town, and
got medevaced out and did not make it.
Did not make it.
So Mel is having a hard time.
Her owner was wrecked.
Yeah.
Did you find anything interesting in the court?
Well, the Oktoberfest was yesterday. Did the loop through there, all the handmade items. Everything in there is locally made. Just a good fun, good turnout.
Yeah.
It was nice to see as many booths as there were, and a lot of fresh, nothing but sugar. You wouldn't believe the cookies.
Well, Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest, I think, every Oktoberfest I've ever seen or heard of has involved beer.
Yeah, there's no beer involved.
But there's no beer here at all. I mean, there's beer here, but if you want a beer during Oktoberfest, you have to go to Kato's Cave or the liquor store, one of those places, and get it, because the actual Oktoberfest is a craft fair.
Yep.
Right?
Which I'm fine with that.
That's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong.
And of course, Halloween coming up this weekend. Yeah, not too much. Oh, yeah, I guess there is the big thing the big crime wave in Petersburg right now is charges of hunting season and bag limits for moose.
Yeah, it's always the most crime and the most serious crimes, and the crimes that make it into the court report. The vast majority of them are fishing game, wildlife violations.
But what I had noticed on reading through this is the fines for that was like fines $300 plus $20 police charge, all of those.
Yeah, they're all the same.
And then you get into the commercial fishery.
But when for moose
and for king, holy crow.
For taking an undersized moose, and it's hard to avoid really if you're a serious hunter. It's hard to avoid. They're in the trees. You have to get the antler size because that's how they judge it.
Even guys that have been hunting here for
Yeah.
decades
So that
still accidentally get an illegal moose.
So it's one of the things. It happens. So the penalties aren't that great. The meat is always confiscated and salvaged and used in the community, donated to, for example, Mountain View Manor or I don't know where all the places they donated it, but the meat is not gone to waste when this happens. The fisheries, however, man, these people are serious about their fish in this town. Because what are we looking at fines here? $1,500 with $1,000 suspended, $20 police surcharge, $150 fine for each of the king salmons, and a 1-year probation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's one. What's the other one here?
I think the rest were all weird.
$1,000 performance bond.
Yeah. No, there were just the moose and the king.
The moose and the king salmon.
Ooh, it's almost coming on winter king season though, and if you have never had a winter king, pretty special stuff. There's just the fishes. The meat is much fattier, and it is just succulent.
If you're a connoisseur of excellent fish.
Best time to eat salmon is this time of the year. I can't wait for winter king.
Yeah. But don't be shy about the frozen stuff because it's all frozen. The best of it gets frozen on the boat when it's caught with a blast freezer on the boat. Yeah,
I had always kind of gotten the impression you always wanted salmon, fresh.
Fish to always be fresh, right?
Yeah, which if you're here locally, it's pretty delicious, right? Fresh catch, but everything is frozen as soon as it's caught.
It's very rare. I mean, what was it? A couple of months ago, I was working on the boat. I was down and when I got off the boat, the boat next to us had just come in. He was a gill netter, and he was cleaning his fish. He said, "Hey, you want some fish?" And he holds up a 15-pound salmon. Sorry, I can't take that because we don't have any way to.
Oh, well, you could have taken it.
I could have taken
it over to Tonka and got it processed.
That's true. But I didn't have. But you had the truck that day. It would have been hours before I could have gotten that.
Well, we still could.
With no refrigeration. Yeah, so forget that.
Oh, wine tasting at Keto's coming up.
Wine tasting at Keto's October 28th. But since I quit drinking, and Laura never drank that much in the first place.
Well,
I used to. We'll just go and socialize.
Yeah, we're gonna go socialize.
I can maybe hold a glass of wine and touch it to my lips or something. There's an interesting guest column in the paper about trees. And you wouldn't think that just a story about trees would be all that interesting, but it's called Growing Giant Pumpkins and Fish Habitat in Petersburg. Is the title of it. And I want to read just a little bit of that to you. Beginning at East Omer Creek, 22 miles south of Petersburg, Alaska, is a tree believed to be the largest left on Mitkoff Island. Forest Service fish biologist Eric Castro and foresters estimate the tree, which grew on a once rich floodplain, is around 600 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Those they call them giant pumpkins. I have no reason why, but I have no idea. Those giant pumpkins are what used to grow in this type of environment, Castro said. That tree stands in contrast to those that have grown around it over the last 60 years, which have reached 4 to 8 inches in diameter, about 1/10 of what would once have been expected. And they go on to explain why this is. After talking to Petersburg old-timers, the reason wasn't just because the area was clear-cut around 60 years ago. It's because when workers extended the highway, the Mitkoff Highway in the 1950s, they took gravel from the rich soil of the area, depleting the nutrients. And this also lowered the ground level to the point it was too close to the water table for the trees to grow well.
There you go.
Logging and gravel mining also had negative implications for the fish. So these are probably not the kind of challenges you might deal with if you live in Southern California.
Well, when we were in Washington, in Anacortes, we had breakfast with that gentleman. Remember we took a drive with him?
Yes, that's right.
The dog hairs.
The dog hairs, yeah. Dog hairs. Anything under like 2 feet in diameter he was calling them dog hairs.
Yeah, because he had been in
He had been a
foresting
logger.
for
He had been a
30,
forester.
40 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So his memories, his memories of the local forest and logging industry are like my memories of Hawaii. You know,
Yeah, the good old days.
45, 50 years ago, it was really nice.
Yeah.
Big ass trees. Oh, sorry, I did it again, didn't I? I'm reverting. You know.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to talk like a sailor. Gee, some of
Couple
these
of new assembly members.
new assembly members, and then the old ones got on some housing task force. Do any people get out of politics? Does anyone ever get out of politics, even when they lose an election? I
No.
mean,
They move on to another.
yeah, absentee ballots should have 2 stamps, but one is okay. Officials say. And yeah, no more comment about that. Whales and researchers whip it up around Five Finger Lighthouse. There's who are they? The Sound Science Research Collective returned to Five Finger Lighthouse again. They're going to do some research on the whales. More research on the whales. It's a great place to do that because there's places just lousy with whales. News in the high school sports. The wrestling
That's
team.
kicking butt.
Aleutian Airways is going to begin scheduling flights between Dutch Harbor and Anchorage, and that's
Wow,
important
that's
to
huge.
the locals.
Yeah.
We have Petersburg School District lunch menu, which sounds a lot like the senior meals menu. Senior meals, if you're over 60, you can make a phone call. They'll deliver you 1 meal a day, or a meal per person, I guess. The flu shot ferries are in town. It's a real thing, you know, I'm not joking about that.
Yep.
The flu shot ferries are in town. They're wearing little fairy wings on their back and a face mask, and they're giving flu shots. So, here's something I wanted to talk about.
What's that?
The iron chink.
The iron chink?
The iron chink. So, this is from the Artifact Archive. And I had read about this somewhat early on, but it's something that's easy to forget because Petersburg was once almost entirely Chinese, you know. Yeah?
Well, Sing Lealea.
Yeah, Sing Lealea. It's, you know, one
Keto's.
of the Keto's Cave. Yeah. Sam Keto. Was it Sam Keto?
Sam Keto.
Sam Keto, yeah. War and famine in the 1800s influenced Chinese immigration to North America. Soon their ranks swelled the cannery workforce, and they accepted lower wages due to financial desperation. In 1903, as anti-Chinese sentiment was building, the iron chink was invented for cutting and gutting fish. Edward Smith chose a name for his machine that reflected the negative attitudes of the time. While skilled workers could cut and gut 6 fish a minute, the iron chink could process dozens, thereby eliminating many cannery jobs. The offensive name stuck for years, but now is generally called a butchering machine or iron butcher. So, who do I know that's Chinese? I'll ask them if they're offended by that. Hey,
No.
Wong, are you offended by the iron chink terminology?
I probably should be, but I'm not.
To anyone who didn't notice it, Laura's grandfather immigrated from China, and therefore her maiden name is Wong. They're tall for Chinese, aren't you?
I get that from my mom.
Classified, there's lots of jobs. If anybody wants to show up here in Petersburg and needs a job,
Jobs.
the credit union, Mountain View Manor, First Bank, Petersburg Borough has many openings. The police department has, dispatchers and sworn officers.
Medical
and,
center,
yeah,
ferry system.
Alaska floor covering.
Huh.
Yeah, so there's...
Oh, Santa Mulligan just woke up. Yeah, feel your pain.
Yeah, Alaska Marine Highway again. If you want to get out on the water and, you know, work one of those commercial seaman jobs or deckhand positions, yeah, they're all there.
Well, Santa, grab another. I'm gonna pour another cup of coffee, and we'll sit and have first cup of coffee with you. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll go fill you up.
Yeah, fill me up too.
All right. Be right back.
I got to. So, I have to tell you, this software situation and the browser, it really threw me when I realized the browser I was using most of the time really messed up the live streams. You scroll down, for example, this morning I was scrolling down looking for the schedule button, the schedule the stream. There's two little boxes. You click schedule and you put in the time that you want the thing to start. And it just didn't appear on that browser. So I switched, and then other problems. I switched browsers. I found it, and I set it up so that we did get it scheduled, but I had 3 false starts this morning, 35 minute or 35 second videos, while I'm sitting there going, huh, what's going on? I don't understand. Why isn't it working? And so I could hire a producer to do this for us, and he would probably know, how to get that all done, but I don't. So it sounds like Laura got into a conversation with Heath over there in the other room. So, hey, bring my coffee. And she's coming.
I'm coming.
You coming? Okay. Is it?
There we go, darling.
Oh, thank you so much. These are our special Cruising Lealea crew mugs.
So what else have we got going this week? We've got
Well, this week.
wine tasting and the NRA dinner next week coming up. That's
Friends
always
of
a
the
big-
NRA, I think that's
big,
the first.
Yeah, that's always a big dinner. Well, I haven't had it for the last couple of years.
Yeah,
'cause of
anybody
COVID,
who's
but-
offended by the NRA, that's tough. I'm a life member, not just a lifelong member. I'm a life member of the NRA, a voting member. So there it is.
Yeah. I said no snow on the horizon yet, which is great. I saw them digging the hole for the Christmas tree.
Oh,
On,
the big Christmas tree in front
Friday,
of it. That's
so-
not for 2 months.
Another month. They're already doing the prep work though, and they'll have the tree up probably. They'll want it cut and installed before
Thanksgiving.
the first snow. So, yeah, so that'll be before Thanksgiving. My gosh, it's almost Thanksgiving already. I mean, Halloween's nearly.
we have
here.
not, in the last 10 years, we have not had snow in October yet.
Correct.
So when I was a kid in Vermont, we always had snow by Halloween.
Oh, Tom, we sold the property in Vermont. Don't have the check yet.
Hasn't closed
but-
yet.
Hasn't closed yet, but
Supposed to close on I think the 15th of November.
woohoo!
So
And then,
that's going to be a big help, I think.
well, just kind of sucking our tendrils back in, I think, and
Well, we're not as spread out, yeah.
yeah,
That was kind of a here we're on the opposite side of the continent from that property,
yeah.
and it wasn't doing us any good. It's just sitting there.
We're
So
basically paying monthly rent or yearly rent with taxes.
yeah,
Quite a lot more than if we'd actually been living there.
hmm
But
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this several times. Vermont looked really good from Hawaii, but not
not so great
good
from Alaska.
So
Alaska's, Vermont is special too. It's hard. You'd be hard pressed to find a more beautiful, idyllic place than rural northern Vermont.
it is. It's stunning. We went back there how many years in a
Yeah,
row?
I don't know.
Convinced me that would be the place to retire, and we were fairly convinced, but
Yep.
not so much anymore.
Yeah. Well, now that the old covered bridge burned down, so
Oh yeah, that's too bad.
burned down 2 years ago. So.
Aw. But anyway, property sold. So once we get check from that, you're gonna close the Vermont account down, right? And we'll be.
I don't know. No, I
Will be
can't.
done?
I can't really close it down. I can. I just. But
Yeah,
I
I'm
have.
just gonna transfer.
I have checks going there automatically from the VA and stuff.
Yeah, but that's no big deal.
It's just no big.
Speaking
It's no big deal either way. It's no big deal either way nowadays. And it was, that was one of the challenges of cruising early on, is how to handle your finances. But now it's not that big of a deal. You have the internet.
Yeah.
And Chad and Carolyn, who I believe we've mentioned before on Walk On, in the process of sailing around the world, they began early this past summer, and they took off to sail around the world, and they're somewhere between San Francisco Bay and Baja, I think, right now. And they asked us to check their mail for them here, and monitor their the bills and stuff that come in the post office. And it's really easy now. I open his mail, I take a picture of it with my phone, I text it to him.
Yeah.
And he has mostly been able to take care of all of his financial dealings.
Yeah. And he has Starlink on.
He has Starlink on board. Yeah.
So we were watching something the other day, and they were talking about Starlink, whether it was you could use it on boats, and there is a.
You absolutely can use it on a boat.
Yeah.
I don't know all the technical details and particulars of it, but to say, where do I go for VA medical appointments? Either Juneau. Well, I have a primary care physician here in Petersburg,
Dr. Tusillo, who's
Mark
just
Tusillo.
retiring.
Mark Tusillo, he was the perfect guy for me when we arrived 10 years ago, because he's a sports medicine specialist and an orthopedist, and that was the bulk of my medical problems up until 8-9 years ago, something like that. So he was the perfect guy, and he's a great guy. We have a lot in common. We're both veterans, so we both had similar service, except obviously he's a doctor and I was a sergeant, but we kind of spoke the same language and got along great. But he's retiring, and for things that can't be handled here in Petersburg, I either go to Juneau, which is about 25-30 miles north of here. Alaska Air.
Basically a 20-minute up and down ride.
Yeah, or next month I have to go to Anchorage for an audiology appointment. I have to go to Anchorage to get my ears checked and recalibrated. New hearing aids.
Rechargeables. Woohoo!
Well, hopefully rechargeable. I hear that's what they're issuing now, is rechargeable hearing aids. So these are 9 or 10 years old, and I didn't know that I'm eligible for new ones every 5 years.
Robert Klosterman is joining us. Hello, Chuck and Laura. So wonderful to see you both again. Yeah, I'm sorry the Seattle Boat Show didn't work out either. Would love to be oh, you had to move back to Iowa. Oh my goodness. Want to be closer to Mom. Oh, well, you do what you got to do, and there's a window of time that you can do it. So, your mom, I'm sure, is very appreciative, and there's always, you're young. There's always the chance for a boat and to do your thing, but you got to take care of Mom right now.
So, well, back to the VA medical appointments, because if you would need to know this, if your medical problem that you're having, like for example my hearing aids, is your service-connected disability that's connected to your compensation or whatever it is you get, your rating, if it's 10, 20, 30, whatever it is %. But for me, if it's my knees or certain other joints in my body or my hearing, it's service-connected. And a couple other things too, but it's service-connected, so the VA pays for the transportation and per diem. Hotel. They'll book the hotel, they'll book the flights, book the hotel
and meals,
pay the bills, do them, done. But if it's not service connected, you're on your own. So, like for example, when I had to go to Anchorage in January for my eye surgery, the surgery is paid for, but the airfare and the hotel and the meals are not.
Yeah, and that's what the Alaska Air mileage card is for.
Yeah, because otherwise it would run me $1,000 or more, because you can't just go fly up and fly back in one day. It takes at least 3 days. You have to have 2 nights in a hotel and 2 flights, because the schedule of the flights, one goes north and one goes south every day.
Yeah, you get there in late afternoon, and it's too late to do appointments.
You get there, you arrive after if you arrive going north, you arrive after this flight going south has left, and if you're going south, you're leaving 2 or So anyway, it doesn't work out from here going there and coming back. You have to spend an extra day, so it's an extra night in a hotel. 3 more meals or whatever it is.
2 nights watching TV.
Yeah. This is an interesting experience because we don't have a television to watch. We can only get to see it in the hotel.
Yeah, rechargeable hearing aids are wonderful. Well, it's sure as heck better than dealing with those teeny tiny little batteries.
It's a little battery.
You've had those things for 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's those little batteries are a pain in the butt.
I don't think they even provide them from the VA anymore because the last time I went to order them, they had changed the procedure and I couldn't figure out how to order them. I tried, couldn't figure out how to order them from the VA. And it's the last 18, 19 months or so, the VA has just gotten very, well, they're just not nearly as responsive as they used to be.
Yeah.
They're clearly lost a lot of staff. They're clearly understaffed. And they just have a hard time
getting stuff done.
You know, you call them up here. You call them up and old Wilson would answer the phone and he'd know what to do and he'd fix you up. Now you call Juno. Wilson retired. But someone else came in. There was other people there. There was Kathy was there. She knew what to do. And other people you could talk to who knew what to do. When you called them, a person answered the phone if it was in business hours.
Yeah.
Now you call them, you get a message. Leave a message with your name and your phone number. We'll call you back within 6 to 10 days.
Yeah.
And if it's an emergency, they tell you just go to the emergency room. We'll cover it.
Yeah.
But coverage doesn't seem to be a problem for disabled veterans because I have had to go to the hospital a couple of times. Once when working on the boat, you may remember there was a video where beam came down on top of my head and just blood everywhere. I had 5 staples in my scalp afterwards, and I got the bill for it, and it was like, I don't know, $80,000 or something stupid. And but
I could have stapled your skull for less than that.
And if I had known, I would have just gone to you and had you do it. But Dr. Tusillo did it, and and they submit the bills to the government. The government's just prints out the money they need to pay the bill, and so no one feels bad about it because no real person is writing out a check of their own money to pay for this. Anyway, it doesn't seem right to me, but as the beneficiary of the system, it's hard for me to complain too much. I just go, that's what it is, until it breaks and it doesn't work anymore. So, hearing aids are service connected. I suppose they may be service connected for everybody now, but I was in the Army from 1966 until 1980, and they didn't start even mentioning earplugs until the mid 70s. And I was on a howitzer crew, M114, 155 millimeter towed howitzer in Vietnam. And I mean, we were firing hundreds of rounds every day with no earplugs. And you couldn't stick your fingers in your ears because you got your hands full. So there it is.
What did you say your sergeant told you to just hold your tongue?
Oh, they would say open, leave your mouth open when the gun goes off, so it would equalize the pressure. And then they would say, don't worry about the ringing in your ears, it'll go away. Someday, not yet.
Philip's asking, are you attending the Seattle Boat Show? We had hoped to last January, but we had some, well, actually, was it last January or January before? I can't remember.
It was a couple of years ago.
But COVID hit, and
I think it was 2018, wasn't it, when
Seattle,
we went last time?
pretty much locked down, and at this point where the boat show is located and the stuff going on in Seattle, I'm not that inclined to head downtown and kind of wander around.
We used to go to Seattle, and if you know the area, we stayed at the Marqueen Hotel, which is within walking distance walking distance of the big venue for the boat show, and within walking distance of the Space Needle and all that stuff. And we Laura's dad gave us a few days in the hotel as a wedding present.
Yeah.
And we stayed there on our honeymoon before we sailed away on
we've been
Endeavor.
But we've been back there several times. And
Last time I was back there, I'm going,
Boy.
why didn't I bring,
little scary. We had walked from the hotel to the boat show. We tried that 2 mornings in a row, I think, and by the 3rd morning, after we'd been accosted multiple times, like, yeah, I think we're done with this. So we ended up just catching a cab, because coming back in the evenings is when it was starting to get a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Going over in the mornings wasn't too bad, but at
that
this
last
point,
time I was using a walking stick.
Yeah,
Because
and
I was
that one
suffering
guy
from gout at the time, and that guy tried to grab my
tried to
stick.
grab your cane at the corner there. So, Access Media TV, great to see you both. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so we have, what do you say?
But I would love to do the Seattle Boat Show again.
I would love
it
to
was
do
a lot
the
of fun.
Seattle Boat Show again. This year, I'd like to do it this year if we could, but I'm not sure that we're in a position to do that yet because of the, what's going on with the clinic. It's not set up completely yet, is it? Well, it's set up. I mean, it's operating, but it's an entrepreneurial venture that is less than 2 years into its startup run. It's ticking along on all
Dr.
4
Hill's
cylinders. But
January schedule, which I think he's going to be out for most of January, because I believe this is his year to do the veterinary conference, and he usually does that in Florida. So anyway, it all depends on Dr. Hill's schedule. I would love to do the boat show this year. I really would. I know my mom would be happy if we went to Seattle again. But,
we were talking about Dr. Hill's schedule. I went over to Mindy's on, was it Friday morning? It was Friday morning. Or was it yesterday morning? I don't know. And Rebecca Himshoot was there. And here's Rebecca Himshoot right here.
State House.
One of our local politicians. She's running for the State House. And so she was there, so I just sat down with her and spent, 45 minutes talking, getting to know the candidate.
Yeah.
And it's something I never got to do in Honolulu or any place else we ever lived.
Yeah, we've met more local politicians since we've moved here, because they'll come. Jonathan used to go sit over at both coffee shops. He'd make a point of sitting there for a couple hours a day just so people could come in and stop in and chat with them.
Jonathan's been our state rep ever since we've been here. And I guess he retired, because I don't see him on the ballot for anything else.
Yeah.
And so now we have, I don't know who's going to wind up being our rep, but Rebecca was a nice lady. Heart's in a good place.
Well, that's important.
That's real important. She seems to understand the importance of our local industries and everything. Having been a government service employee, a teacher her entire working life, she's a little weak on some stuff, but hey, she'll get up to speed, or she won't. And I sincerely hope that she gets elected, because I don't know the other guy at all.
Well, he hasn't been here, so.
Well, I read his bio and everything, and he's made a big point of being like several generations in the local area, and a former commercial fisherman and a former Navy guy, and so I'm sure he's a solid dude.
Well,
at the state level.
It's going to be important to kind of get to know your politicians a little bit better. I think a lot of them have
I have
been
met
doing stuff that most people agree with partially, but not fully.
Well, we met and had coffee with Kelly Chibaka, who is running for Senate.
Yeah.
Against
Murkowski.
Lisa Murkowski. Lisa Murkowski's been in there for decades, I guess. I don't know how long she's been there, but she's been there for a long time in the Senate. As far as I'm concerned,
well, she only really got there because her dad was.
Well, it's name recognition,
yeah.
and that's one of those things.
Yeah.
I think let someone else go have a chance.
Well,
can't do any worse.
Comes down to, I think, if you've been in politics for 20 or 30 years, then it's time for some fresh ideas.
I don't know, but those people seem to have strange ideas.
Oust the
All
incumbents.
of them. All of them. Oust the incumbents. If they're in office, vote for somebody different, because you can't get any worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion only. And, what do I know? I'm stuck here on this little island in southeast Alaska. Don't even have a television set. So there.
Well, we're much better off for that. Well, now that we're into politics,
Now we're getting
I
out of
think
that
it's-
right now.
I think it's time to move on.
Oh yeah, definitely. I want to mention that. Maybe I don't want to mention that. No, I won't mention that. We'll save that for next week.
All right. So I think it's time to boot. I have a groom coming in.
It's time to go. You
about,
stayed 10
20
minutes longer than you said you were going to stay.
Yep. I switched my morning around a little bit. So
Yeah.
I have a groom to go head off to. We've got a busy week coming up. We'll take some pictures and make some notes and share. And I hope to see you all again next weekend. Enjoyed having coffee with everyone, and from here I'll kick it over to Chuck. Oh, before we head out, somebody says, where are you on Rumble? Cruising Lealea.
Cruising Lealea. We're cruising Lealea, cruising Lealea, cruising Lealea.
Yeah.
Cruising Lealea on Rumble, cruising Lealea on Locals, on Patreon, and I don't know where else, but
Well, Facebook, we haven't done anything too much
So we're
with our Facebook page.
haven't done much with the
I
Facebook.
haven't been on Facebook in like 3 years.
No, right now I'm locked out because I accidentally posted something. I clicked and I went, oh! I didn't mean to put that there. Anyway, so they locked me out. They didn't
You're
like
in
it.
Facebook jail, Chuck.
I'm in Facebook jail for another couple of hours. Not really concerned too much about that. But
Anyway, all right. Well,
you're going to take off?
I'm going to take off.
Okay. Y'all are going to have to excuse me for a minute. I'm going to kiss my wife, okay?
All right, darling. Oh, play the Friday song.
I don't have the Friday song. Okay, Laura wanted me to play the Aloha Friday song, but I neglected.
Actually, Bob wants you to play the.
Bob wants me to play it? Okay, hold on a second.
Oh, so you'll do it for Bob, but not for me.
If I can find it. Let's see, where would it be? It would be here in, probably in music, I'll bet you.
Friday. There it is, Aloha.
Nope.
What?
Nope. I should have set that file up so that I could play it, but now I didn't set it up so I could play it. Come on, down here. Scroll. Nope.
All right, well, we'll save
Well,
that for next week.
I'll set it up for next week, but I can't do it now.
Bob, unprepared. Anyway,
I meant to, but I had so much trouble setting up the stream this morning. I didn't have time.
It's different every time. All right, you guys, go out, have a great Sunday, have a beautiful week, and we will see you back here same time next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Aloha.
Aloha. Aloha no kako. Hui ho. Aloha indeed to all of us. Until we meet again, I'm Chuck. This is my first mate, the lovely and talented Laura Wong Rose. And we are cruising Lealea. Cruising along.
Take care, guys.
Take care. And that's saying, end the stream.